Dear Mira, I awoke this morning to whispers of unrest. When speaking with a sentinel, she advised me that the trolls to the north had started on a warpath, that they had assaulted scouts and set fire to a nearby tower, and asked if I can assist them. I thought back to the cave infested with satyr and the apothecary within and wondered if the two could be connected in any way. I headed up the road to the north and was surprised to see the extent of the devastation the small group of trolls had wrought. The local tower was on fire and the sentinels were camped slightly to the south, out of sight. They were in the beginning stages of figuring out a way to whittle away at their ranks, and so I set about helping the camp where I could. The trolls had workers excavating the area looking for magical artifacts. They hadn't found anything of substance, but I happened upon a set of orders that mentioned a captured scalp, and this needed to be reported immediately. Mara was taken aback at the news of another captured scalp, and she thinks it may actually be a civilian. She gave me scouted coordinates to check and to try to free her if I could. Upon reaching the camp, it became clear that this is not just a Shatterspear troll warpath. This is a Horde incursion. Horde troops were patrolling the area and unloading supplies, so I decided to decrease their numbers and burn any supplies I came across. The spy that the scouts' orders had spoken of was in fact a civilian Alandarian. When I found her, she wasn't even bound. She'd been tortured near death by a troll. When I stepped into the clearing, dead scouts were strewn about carelessly. Only one prisoner remained. Angered, I killed the torturer and freed the imprisoned scout within. Unfortunately, Alandarian succumbed to her wounds before I could help her, but I was able to escort the other scout to safety. She also told me how they had been captured. They had surrounded the troll leader, but he was protected by some magic shell that made him unable to be attacked. At hearing about this magic shell, Mora tasked me with eliminating any leaders that we could while they figured out a plan. I tracked down the head shaman within a temple in the ruins. But while looking for the warrior, however, I came across the burning tower. It was being plundered by the Forsaken. I have grown to hate these creatures and their affront to the natural order. I gave their final death to all within and claimed what they had been collecting. Perhaps Mathis at the camp will know what's due with it. All I know is that it is better out of their hands. Returned to the camp one final time, preparations had finally been made for the main assault. I mounted one of their sabers and joined the fray. Upon entering through the mouth of the cave, two behemoths stood before me. I had heard of the ancient protectors, but had never seen one with my own eyes. They stood as tall as buildings, their boughs bent into fierce claws that snapped and groaned with power. But not only was I to observe them, I was asked to direct one in battle. I bowed before one and he accepted me as a rider. We wrought havoc and fought our way to their leader. By then, he had hunkered himself down in a cave, surrounded by his elite guard, no doubt feeling he would be protected by his magic. But the huntress at the front was prepared. She was provided with an arrow that would pierce the veil and remove any enchantments. She awaited word and we attacked. I called upon the bear once more and charged through the defenders, knowing that the sentinels behind me would handle them. Jor Kill stood arrogantly still as he absorbed my attack, but the smirk disappeared from his lips as the arrow hit him, and he felt my claws. The battle was quick and decisive. I exited the cave with grave news, however. Upon Jor Kill were orders from the active war chief, Garrosh Hellscream, a fanatic all within and without the Alliance had heard of. Recent attacks upon the Night Owls have stopped trade routes to Orgrimmar, and it seems Garrosh has decided to forego peace and push into Ashenville to take supplies by force. The Shatterspear were merely pawns at his game, their first blow in his lust for power. Reading this, I hastened back to Lord Anel to deliver it to Glenda, who dispatched scouts immediately. It took me a moment to realize how much calmer Lord Anel seemed. Whiteclaw was wandering the grounds and waved me over. He and Grimclaw had bonded with one another in their sorrow. He seemed quite optimistic at having his new traveling companion. With the immediate threat handled, I decided to take the opportunity to finally sit and take in the sights of the World Tree. One had to be at a distance to see it in its full glory, and the inn just happened to be facing it. With the familiar feeling of mist spattering my face, I was able to release a sigh of relief. This moment is what I've been looking for when leaving the Stormwind. Hopefully it's a sign of things to come, and I look forward to exploring these enchanted forests further. Forever yours, Ulric.